What's up, everyone? Welcome to Redskins Talk TV. This is your host, Trey. Now we got this Week 7 matchup with the Washington Redskins and the Tennessee Titans. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about the Tennessee Titans. I haven't really followed them much since Eddie George was their running back and Steve McNair was their quarterback. Tennessee, no hate against that team. I like that team as an AFC opponent. They're not doing too well. They have one more win on their record as opposed to us. They have put up some fight with some games. Some games have been a bit of a mismatch with as far as the scoring deficit between them and the opponent. But this is still going to be a tough test. For some reason, a lot of people are saying, Redskins are going to win. And as a Redskins fan, yes, I would like for the team to win, especially in this dismal state that we're in. Sitting at 1-5, living here in Texas, hearing a whole bunch of bullshit from Cowboy fans until December comes and they start to choke. Fuck the Cowboys, by the way. But all the same, with the Washington Redskins, when we're going up against the Tennessee Titans, a couple of things I did. I tried to take a look at some videos. Unfortunately, there wasn't much on YouTube as far as highlights from the other games that they've played, just to see the sticking points, what they did well, some of the things that they needed to work on. Right now, they are ranked 15th as far as an offense. So, and we're ranked 5th as an offense for the Washington Redskins. So they do pretty well. Now, they are ranked 10th for a rush. So they will try to run the ball. So it's the job of our defense to basically shut them down. They have Sean Green, Leon Washington, and I forget the name of the other running back. But it's just going to be a matter of defense really playing solid football. And one of the things that I watched with the Arizona Cardinals during a handoff, the safeties and linebackers for the Washington Redskins kind of get sucked in the middle because you have a lot of cutbacks from Andre Ellington during that game, and then he kicked out to one edge or another, and our defenders basically tripping over each other trying to get to the outside to stop him. It's one of the things. As a defense, these guys have got to trust that the three linemen up front, and if whether it's a Rockpool rushing from one side or Kerrigan rushing from the other side, being able to stick to their assignment and stop that from occurring instead of everyone kind of getting sucked in the middle. That's leaving the entire middle of the field exposed, especially when it comes to play action where the tight end's going to get there or there's going to be some sort of crossing route with the wide receiver. But the defense is going to have to play solid football and trust the man in front of them, especially when it comes to that second level with the linebackers. They're going to have to put that faith in the defensive linemen to secure that tackle or at least fill in the gaps to prevent the running back from being able to hit the hole. All the same, if you're on one side, don't try to overcommit by exposing that side to pursue the ball. Gang tackling is always good, but when you're basically 20 yards away from the play, don't leave that part of the field open. So basically shutting down the run is going to be the responsibility. Try to turn it into a one-dimensional game. Really don't know who's going to be at the quarterback, whether it's going to be Jake Locker or Charlie Whitehurst. I think Charlie Whitehurst, he played last week. That game came down to the wire, so it could have gone either way. And they did win against the Jaguars. Pretty much everyone that's played the Jaguars beating them. So kudos to them for that. But Charlie Whitehurst, he had some pretty good plays, but it was a close victory for them all the same. But a win is a win. So whichever quarterback is behind there, we're going to have to get pressure. Quick 3 and outs, not allow for third down conversions for the opponents, but really add some pressure. Hopefully Haslett will have a game plan instead of trying to send the entire house, because a lot of teams are torching us, especially with tight ends. And this is a game in particular where their best offensive player is Delaney Walker, the tight end. So we have to be able to minimize rushing the entire house with blitz attacks, with 8 guys trying to get to the quarterback and leaving the middle of the field exposed to where it's going to be the responsibility of the tight end to cover Delaney Walker, because if anything, he's probably going to be one of those Tennessee players that's going to head to the Pro Bowl with his gameplay this season. So they're going to have to shut him down. They also have the venerable veteran at wide receiver with Nate Washington. So he's still a serviceable receiver, good possession receiver, still got some good speed. So it's going to be the responsibility of Breland or Emerson to shut him down. Hopefully Emerson will be back because he left out the game with a concussion. So hopefully he'll be returning and in top form to shut that down. When it comes to the cornerbacks, basically all the cushion. Once again, I'm very critical about the cushion because I still feel like we don't have a good enough defensive line to apply pressure rushing the quarterback when we're giving so much cushion. So it's giving the quarterback time to make his reads, giving the quarterback time to pass the ball. And, of course, with the receivers doing their quick ends and everything, they're able to get some sort of short yardage and matriculate down the field. And that leaves our defense on the field much longer, gassed, and all of a sudden they have poor execution, poor tackling, and this long yardage made by the opponents. So our corners really need to shut down the receivers by getting close to the line of scrimmage, punching the receiver in the chest, not literally punching them, but just getting a hand on them at the line of scrimmage within that first 5 yards to delay the route or set the receiver on a different route. I would imagine playing more inside technique is something that the corners should do just to prevent any type of inside route release. But once again, I'm just an armchair quarterback, just like everybody else. So my opinion may not necessarily matter, but just from casual game observation, that's just the one thing that I see. Now, as far as our offense, because the Tennessee Titans, they are ranked 25th in the league with their defense, the total defense, and they rank 28th against the rush. Now, when you look at those numbers, we can look at a lot of different teams because I know when we went against the Eagles, they don't do too well against the rush. We did run pretty well, and we also had some pretty good passing, but all in all, we still lost. And when we went up against the Giants, their stats didn't look all that great, but for some reason, we looked very terrible, looked very bad against them. So with the Tennessee Titans, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to be an easy game, but this game in particular is one where they really need to let Alfred Morris run loose. But at the same time, his play is going to be contingent upon the blocking from the offensive line. Running to the right side, which is something that Haslett keeps calling on. I'm really suspect of Chris Chester and Tyler Columbus. I'm always on their ass in particular because they are the weakest links. If we have Laval back as left guard, and of course Trent Williams healed up a little bit, so hopefully he'll be in a better condition to block. But even as an injured player, Trent Williams is still better than Tyler Columbus at full health. So running to the right side, even running up the gut, but getting the ball into Alfred Morris's hands. I'm really sick and tired of him not being able to get the ball because, 12, 13 carries is not going to be sufficient for him to get into a good momentum. Getting behind is just one of those things where if we're not running, the offensive line, it really isn't getting that push and bullying the defensive linemen and linebackers. It's going to be a quick 3 and outs, and our defense is going to spend way too much time on the field. So we really need to get that ball into Alfred Morris's hands. This game in particular, I think Jordan Reed would have a good game, although he's going to be blanketed by Michael Griffin, who's up. He's got a couple of interceptions already, so he's near the top as far as league leaders for interceptions. But I know that they're going to be keeping an eye on Jordan Reed, especially when they have Michael Griffin or the other safeties covering him. I think they're really going to have a test as far as with Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson. So that's going to be something to where all three of our wide receivers, especially with Andre Roberts being able, especially if he's going to be playing in the slot and just really work in the middle of the field, I think that he'll do well. Hopefully he'll do a better job of securing the ball. I don't really fault him for that, what they call fumble, because his knee was down, but that game is already over with. But I think that he'll do well. I also think that Pierre Garçon will do well against whoever's going to be lining up against them, and they're really going to be putting a deep safety to prevent those long passes to Deshaun Jackson. But I really think that overall it's a little bit of an advantage for us, but at the same time, we have a way of making games against easier opponents look like very difficult games. So hopefully we'll have a game plan where all three phases, special teams, defense, offense, are clicking. Keys to this, once again, running the ball, getting the ball into Jordan Reed's hands, getting the ball into Pierre Garçon's hands, because they're going to be too focused on having a safety for covering Jordan Reed, and that's going to leave man-on-man coverage with Pierre Garçon. So he's really going to have to work on getting that separation. Once he gets the ball into his hands, he's a handful to bring down. So, and he plays angry each time he's out there on the field. So we're really looking forward to that. And then, of course, with our special teams, just making sure that Andre Roberts, as a returner, gets up the field, gets some positive plays going, make the field short for us, and hopefully Kirk Cousins, of course, going to have some good decisions Of course, the way that he plays is going to be partially contingent upon what the defense gives to him, but also at the same time, the offensive line protecting him. I'm really looking forward to hopefully Chris Chester and Tyler Plum is doing well and protecting him, but Tennessee, I'm not going to say is a slouch. They're going to give us a run for the money. I'm not one to predict the score, so I'm not even going to go there. But I think it's going to be a very tough game. Hopefully, we'll come out on top because once again, any victory is going to wash away any loss that we've suffered. And right now, at the cell of the NFC East, we really need a victory. So hopefully, we'll come out on top with this. But go ahead and leave your comments on this video. Like, subscribe, and share for everyone that does watch this video if that's what you feel like you want to do. And for my Redskins family, hail to the Redskins.